Hello everyone, my name is Casey York and I wanted to thank the school board for allowing me the time to present regarding the District Technology Training Program. And we're going to start off by looking at the results from a survey, a recent survey. And the results from this survey come from administrators, central office personnel, as well as teachers in elementary through high schools. And I think that you'll find the information here revealing and interesting. So if you look at the first question in Appendix A, the results here tell us that the majority of the people in the county who responded are pretty happy with the amount of technology that is currently offered. We've had quite a bit of technology in the past few years, in the past 5 to 10 years really, that we're able to put into the classroom and into schools in general. So that's not really an issue. We're happy with the amount of technology currently that is there. However, looking down at number 2, you'll see that the training related to the technology, uh, people are not quite as happy about that. So no one who responded to the survey is completely or very happy with this. And half of the respondents said that they're dissatisfied, and some of them very dissatisfied. And I think that's telling, and I think that's key. And that information helped drive this plan. If you continue looking at number 3, this is perhaps the most revealing piece of information in the survey. No one who responded believed that we were not wasting some of the technology that's currently available. And that's a big deal. That tells us that there needs to be a refocus on training, and we need to rethink how we're training because what we're currently doing is not working. And all of the money that we've spent to bring in this technology, really a lot of that is going wasted. Lastly, if you look at the bottom, only a third of respondents said that there is someone other than the IT person in the school to help train people. And the IT person's job really is not to train. They're there to keep an eye on the network, to troubleshoot, to make sure that everything is running smoothly. But the IT person in the building is not there to help train people. And really, that's not their job. That's not why they were brought in. And so we need to address that, and that's something that is addressed in this plan. And we've touched on this, but really, we know that most schools have technology. All teachers have access to a laptop that they can take to and from school. Many schools have recently employed iPad or tablet programs. And as we know, almost every school, if not all schools, have interactive whiteboards, smart boards, things of that nature. But going back to the survey results, the training that is needed for this is simply not happening. So the question then is, how do we fix this? How do we address these problems? And we're going to do this in 4 different ways. You can see the 4 ways that we're going to do that. And it's going to be really an ongoing process. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. This is going to be a plan that's going to take a little bit of time to implement. But once we're done with it, we're going to see results, and we're going to see that technology that's currently being wasted is going to be used. And ideally, it's going to show in the results and the data and the achievement of our students. So if you could look again at the handouts that you received, your supplementary materials, this is our ultimate goal. And if you look closely, the TPAC solution here, essentially, TPAC stands for Technological, Pedagogical, Content, and Knowledge. And what this does, if you're unfamiliar with TPAC, is it allows teachers to infuse their knowledge of content, their pedagogical knowledge, and their technological knowledge. And when you can have all 3 of those at the same time, when the 3 of those are blending together, it's a beautiful thing. And what it means is that your teachers are not only mastering their content, they're not only mastering how to teach that content, but they're doing it with technology. And when all 3 of these things happen together, it increases engagement, students enjoy it, teachers enjoy it, and it really is where we need to go. With the amount of technology that is currently available in our school system, this is what we should be striving for. And really what's so important about this is that this is going to differ from classroom to classroom depending on content area. It's going to differ depending on age group. This could be early elementary, late elementary, so on and so forth. So this is our ultimate goal. So when we talk about training in stages, what we mean by that is that the big part here is that teachers have to be comfortable and familiar with the technology. So some teachers, for example, have iPads on their own. They have iPads at home, they've been using them for years. Other teachers may have no clue how to use an iPad. So we're going to train in stages, meaning if you're already comfortable with the technology, we're not going to make you go through a basic training. Everyone will have to go through one training when they join the school system, but after that, um, it's going to work in stages. So once you're comfortable and once you're confident with a certain technology, you're going to go ahead and move on to the next stage. There's no need um, to keep people who know in that area, and there's no need to force people who are not comfortable with the technology yet to go into a training that is really going to be not useful for them because they're not comfortable yet. Um, so it is going to occur in stages, and once teachers become more comfortable with the technology and they've had an opportunity to work with that technology, specifically with their content, they will then take that knowledge and discuss that with other teachers in their school buildings. And that's part of how we're going to get these programs to grow and to take root, because teachers like discussing with other teachers how a technology works and how it's helping them in their classroom. And that's what we want to happen, and that's what will happen when we train in stages. Additionally, we're going to have a practical focus of professional development, and this sounds like common sense, but right now this is not happening. Um, Professional development projects are more effective when they focus on enhancing teachers' content and pedagogical content knowledge. So it comes back to the TPAC solution. And in our training sessions, teachers will be able to work with other teachers, specifically within their content area and within their grade level in that content area, which will allow them to know exactly how to apply the technology in their own classroom. And currently this is not happening. Our current training system, we do on sort of a whole group level. There's no breaking things down into smaller groups. You might have a whole group training at the beginning of the year on how to use whiteboards, or you might have a whole group training on how to use iPads, but this is not really helpful for teachers of science, math, English, social studies. They need individual trainings, and they need those trainings um, to allow them to have time to work together with other teachers within their content area so that they can understand how to use this technology in their specific classroom. If we don't do that, if we don't allow the practicality, then teachers will sit in on a training. Uh, they'll think about it for a day or two. They'll probably think that this is a good technology, but without the time to sit and work and understand how this is going to work in their specific classroom and get their questions answered if they run into trouble at that training, to have one simple training at the beginning of the year, it just doesn't work. Whole group focus like that does not work, and we need to move away from that. Um, so, in addition, we want to make sure that every school has an in-house technology trainer, and this person is going to work half-time. So, they're not going to be training full-time. They're going to train half-time. Part of that is to save money, but the other part of that is we want to make sure that the trainers are also still teaching. Part of the reason for that is because we know that what is innovative today is going to be obsolete tomorrow. And of course, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but we do know that technology is constantly changing. So we want to ensure that these trainers are still in the classroom so that they can understand when the technology changes, how best to apply it in the classroom. Because of that, they're going to then be able to keep up and be able to train better and better as the years go along. Um, if you have someone who's out of the classroom, they're going to lose touch. And it might not happen right away. It might not happen in 1 year. But we want to make sure that the trainers stay in the classroom for at least part of the time, at least teach one period a day, to keep in touch with not only the current technology, but also the current generation of students, because we know that that changes as well. The current generation right now, millennials, um, they're they're a different group than the students who were in school 10, 15 years ago. And the students who are going to be in school 10 to 15 years from now are also going to be different from the group that is there now. So that's why it's important to have an in-house technology trainer, um, not only so that they're there constantly, so that they can work with teachers in different content areas, that they can work with smaller groups of teachers. They can go into one teacher's classroom, for example, and teach a lesson to model that for the teacher. They're there to troubleshoot, but also so that they remain in contact with students throughout the year as well. Finally, we want to make sure, and this is actually probably the most important part of this training program, that it's ongoing and that it's collaborative. The training has to be ongoing. There's just no getting around that. And I've already touched on the fact that at the beginning of the year, a lot of schools run a training, the week before school starts, And that's simply not enough. There's not enough follow-up, there's not enough support, and even with an in-house training person, there needs to be more than that. And so once participants complete a training program, there's going to be online um, message boards and online support where teachers can post best practices, they can post trouble that they're having, they can post essentially successes and failures and create a dialogue. Once we have this dialogue that is ongoing, it's going to provide a forum for teachers to get together, to answer each other's questions, and to learn from each other. You know, every teacher is not going to use the technology in the same way within their own classroom, even within the same grade level and subject area. So one teacher might find something that works well for them. They can share that experience with other teachers virtually and online. And another teacher at a completely different school in the system might take something from them and apply that in their own classroom. So this collaborative nature, this ongoing and collaborative nature of the plan really is a huge key to the program. And because it's online, it's not going to cost the system much money at all. We're already using Edmodo, and that's a huge focus for Prince George's County. So just to essentially continue that and to encourage that with participants is something that all teachers are going to benefit from, and ultimately the students are going to benefit from. Um, because really the reason we're doing all of this training is to increase achievement from our students. And the best way to increase achievement is to have better teachers, and teachers can improve throughout their teaching careers by simply collaborating with other teachers. This is something that we're not doing well enough, and if we can encourage that, starting with responses within the first week after a training, that will grow, that will develop, and it will become the norm. It will become one of the expectations of the trainings. Um, and really, that's how you grow this support and this dialogue online. And everyone will benefit from this. And teachers will become more comfortable, more confident, and it really will benefit all parties involved. So at this point in time, I would love to take questions from anyone, and I wanted to thank you again for your time.